One day after record-breaking energy use across the state of Texas, managers of the state's power grid placed the system into an emergency alert stage. If you want to support the show in a different way, you can go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. So apparently there's a couple things here. The Dallas skyline will go dark tonight to conserve energy as the electric emergency continues in Texas. Now, this is kind of crazy because I've actually talked about moving to Texas because they have their own grid. But apparently something is going on there to the extremes. Of course, just less than a week ago, we saw the horrible pileup that happened. That was 132 cars, I think it ended up being. That was because of the extreme weather. That is still going on. It's so much so, I actually talked to somebody and they said that their post office in Houston, I believe, is closed till Wednesday. The post office, rain, sleet, or snow, right? But apparently not everywhere because this is really bad. So we're going to talk about that here in just a second. In fact, I'll get right into it. Historic winter storm batters nation's midsection. It says, while some Texans are thrilled to see cold and snowy weather, others say that the winter storm is a nightmare on the roads and causing problems at home. The most unrelenting weather pattern in decades unleashed brutally unseasonable cold and record snowfall deep into Texas, sparked harrowing cases and harrowing scenes on roadways across the middle of the country, and left millions of customers without power over the weekend. It says the coast-to-coast weather system caused particular chaos across Texas. Now, this is one of the first times in the last 3 years that I've covered news and weather that I have actually seen that all 50 states are going to hit freezing temperatures. That is pretty incredible. We right now have snow. We had over a foot. It was pretty insane. In one night, we had such a blizzard, and I did take some good video of it, which I'll show you most likely on Twitter. Of just howling wind. We lost many trees, a lot of power outages. Of course, it was so windy that and so powerful that the snow was going into our front doorway to the point where I couldn't open it. I had to go around and kind of dig it out. In fact, if I would have opened it, you would have just seen a wall of snow up 7 or 8 feet. And that was because of the horizontal snow hitting my door. I mean, it was really intense. We had wind that was so bad. I have a 10 by 10 that's over my deck, and it is ripped to shreds. In fact, after the last storm, it kind of lifted up. This was so windy that I had to zip tie every leg to parts of the deck, and it actually basically almost pulled the wood, the 2x4s, off of the top of the deck. That's how hard it was going. And then these zip ties are, the huge ones. Not the little dinky ones. These are, meant to hold up, you could hold up barbells with it with just one. Now, what happened is it was so bad, it ripped this polyurethane like super strong. This wasn't like a cheapo 10 by 10 you get at Lowe's. This was a one that you put over your deck. And it was just ripped to shreds. I mean, this was incredible wind. We had trees down just down the street. So that was what happened here. We're on the West Coast. California was seeing cold temperatures. You're talking about the entire coast was hit with this thing. Now the Midwest is being hit. And it is not a drill in the way that these people that have not prepared, there's some pretty serious stuff going on here. Dex, wouldn't you say that this is probably one of the most serious storms that has hit here?
Well, yeah, and wind chills in some areas were getting below single digits, and the temperatures are going to be dropping down to single digits. And these houses aren't built for this. This is not like people that live up north where their houses may be built better for that. They may have different heating type systems, but down here in the southern belt, we get all 4 seasons, but we don't get these deep colds. If we do, it's a day or two and that's it. You get over it and your heater runs nonstop. So these houses without power, these guys are getting some really chilly temperatures on the inside. So being prepared for something like that and having all your ducks in a row is, pretty important, and something that you probably wouldn't have thought of, in the high temperatures of typical Texas, right?
Yeah.
We don't think of it here in Georgia. I mean, we're lucky if we get a snow dusting. We'd love to see it. It's always fun, but it just, we don't prepare for that kind of hardcore winter.
Well, it's kind of like in Seattle, no one has air conditioners because we don't have, blazing hot. And people die almost every year of heat stroke, or every year that it gets hot, like, 100-degree temperatures. Even when it's 90 here, people die of sunstroke because people aren't used to the heat. Whereas if you're in Georgia, you guys are, in most places in the Midwest, you guys are used to those 100-degree weather days. On top of that, our weather here is made this humid weather. And when it gets that hot, it is really bad and it's dangerous, right? And people go, well, we have days like that all the time. Or even people in Yakima, Washington, on the other side of the mountains, they're like, oh, we have those temperatures all the time. That's exactly why it is less dangerous there, as everybody's acclimated to it. Everybody is used to it. Everybody's used to this happening. In places like this, it's exact opposite. You guys aren't used to the cold. We have freezing temperatures here on a regular basis. We don't have this craziness of, snow and wind, but you guys just don't have that. This says that the Texas power grid enters emergency alert stage. One day after record-breaking energy use across the state of Texas, managers of the state's power grid placed the system into an emergency alert stage. Early Monday morning, this morning, ERCOT declared, quote, an energy emergency alert 1. Which I believe is the highest. It says also called an EEA, as the first of 3 alert phases. The first. And it says in this phase, the state looks to get electricity from other grids. It says the second stage shuts down large industrial users who have agreed to cut power in an emergency. The third phase is rotating outages. How would they even do that right now? And we're talking about what they would do in California when it's hot weather, only when it's freezing weather. If they had to go to rotating outages, think about that in sometimes below freezing temperatures. That is pretty insane. This is where, people's prep really, really came in handy. And I hope that our Texas watchers, even though you may not be watching this until a couple days from now, and I'm praying for you, I hope that you guys were prepared for anything. You don't have to be prepared for the end of the world to be a prepper. You can be preparing for the next unexpected event. And this was definitely something that, the thing is people expect bad weather, but they don't expect just a horrendous over-the-top weather. But even though we have this kind of stuff all the time where it is extremes, right? Now we are getting used to it to the point where everybody should know that you are going to run into, in the next 2 years, extreme weather to the point where it is insane. So I hope everybody prepped for this. I hope everybody has everything. Again, this was a tweet by the Wizard. It says the Dallas skyline will go dark Monday night to conserve energy as the electric emergency continues in Texas and neighboring states hit hard by the bitter Arctic blast. So in a lot of instances, it basically shows, they exaggerate something like this. This one isn't exaggerated, and it just kind of came out. And of course, they said it was going to possibly get bad, but now we are going to see the toll from this afterwards. A lot of people have no power, and inside their house with no fireplace, no nothing, they are freezing. So I bet you we're going to see a toll from this, if you guys know what I mean. If you have not prepared, again, the Texas grid is something that is actually well prepared for an EMP, or at least now they have a DEMSO team helping protect them. I would highly recommend you looking into EMP Shield. If you're new here and have not seen this, talk to anybody that has worked with these guys yet. This company is currently contracted with agencies like DOD, Department of Homeland Security, and they are officially on the DEMSO team helping prepare the Texas grid for an EMP/solar flare. Again, it can protect against all 3 phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3, and it can protect against solar flare. Make sure to go check it out. marfooglenews.com/EMP. Again, the most sold one is the car. Don't get stuck out in the snow after an EMP. Multiple ways to enter. Again, there is a contest going on. If you cannot afford one, this is why we ask them all the time to do more contests. Again, all you have to do is go like a couple places, subscribe a couple places, do those things, and you will be entered to win one. Go to marfooglenews.com/contest. There's multiple ways to enter, including daily bonus entries. Go to marfooglenews.com contest. Again, you have to go there for the contest.
Feed the haters to the alligators. Your way or the highway, see you later. B.O.D. is the homie and Mr. Vader. If it wasn't for you, I would never made it. Whole city's covered by the cremated. Now they listen to what we were saying. Doesn't matter if the manufacturer or created. But now